The alchemy of absence, creating portraits with soil to study our ecological roots. What if the most honest portrait of you isn't made from light? Not through a camera lens. Not stored on a memory card. Not enhanced by artificial intelligence. What if the truest image of your identity comes from something much older than photography itself? The soil beneath your feet. Today we're exploring a radical form of alternative portraiture that abandons the traditional camera and uses earth, sediment, and touch to create an image. For nearly 2 centuries, photography has relied on the same principle. Light reflects from a subject and forms a picture. Whether on film or a digital sensor, the portrait becomes a record of appearance. But appearance can be deceptive. We carefully control how we are seen. We choose expressions, clothing, poses, and filters. Modern photography often encourages perfection, creating portraits that may be beautiful but emotionally distant. Beneath those carefully constructed identities lies a truth we all share. We come from the earth. And one day, we return to it. This process begins with a simple material, soil. Not as a background, not as scenery, but as the medium itself. Earth is collected, sifted, and prepared. Different soils carry different colors and mineral histories. Some appear red from iron. Others are rich browns, grays, or deep blacks shaped by centuries of geological change. The soil is then pressed directly against the skin. Across the forehead, the cheeks, the hands. Rather than recording reflected light, the process records physical contact. The earth settles into wrinkles, creases, and contours, tracing the landscape of a human life. The result is not merely a likeness. It becomes an impression, a meeting point between body and landscape. Something remarkable happens when we view these images. The face begins to lose its familiar certainty. The portrait no longer feels entirely human, nor entirely geological. Instead, it exists somewhere between the two. The individual becomes inseparable from the environment. Identity merges with sediment. And perhaps that is the point. Modern life encourages the illusion that humans stand apart from nature. Surrounded by technology and urban environments, we often forget our connection to the natural world. Yet every element in our bodies ultimately comes from the earth. The calcium in our bones. The iron in our blood. The oxygen we breathe. The soil portrait reminds us of that forgotten relationship. There is also something deeply unsettling about these images. Unlike traditional portraits, they do not celebrate permanence. The soil slowly crumbles. Particles fall away. The image changes over time. The portrait begins to resemble an archaeological artifact, fragile, temporary, and already fading. This raises a powerful question. What if identity is not fixed? What if the self is less like a statue and more like a landscape, shaped continuously by time, memory, and change? The soil portrait seems to suggest exactly that. It rejects permanence and accepts erosion as part of existence. In doing so, it reveals a different kind of beauty. Not the beauty of perfection, but the beauty of belonging. Belonging to the earth, belonging to time, belonging to a cycle far larger than ourselves. Perhaps that is why these portraits feel so profound. They remind us that we are not separate observers standing outside nature. We are participants within it. Temporary arrangements of matter. Brief expressions of geological history that have learned to call themselves human. The next time you stand before a camera, consider this. Perhaps the most honest portrait was never about preserving your appearance. Perhaps it was always about remembering where you came from, and where, eventually, we all return.